Now, Clare Animal Welfare has had its busiest year on record, with more dogs taken in and rehomed in 2025 than ever before. So far this year, the charity has cared for 275 dogs, continuing a steady rise in demand for its services over recent years. So to talk about what's behind these figures and the work being done on the ground, I'm joined now by Brigid Molloy, a volunteer with Clare Animal Welfare. Brigid, a very good morning to you. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning. No, thank you for having me.
So take us through 2025 in a bit more detail then. Busiest year on record. I suppose, how has it surpassed previous years, and has it been by much?
Well, we've definitely rehomed more dogs this year than we have in past years. It was only recently that we looked at the numbers and we realized, we're bypassing 2024, and it just means that we've got more dogs who are coming in need of finding new homes, and seem to be doing a pretty good job about actually getting out and finding them these new homes, finding them their forever families, and it's great to see. It's great to see. It's unfortunate that dogs have to come to us to be rehomed, but we'd much rather that we're able to help them.
Yeah, and I actually did touch on that earlier on when I was mentioning that you were going to be on that. I mean, you can view this one of two ways. It is great that you are being successful in finding homes for them, but it is quite sad that you're receiving so many dogs. Is there anything that you can point to that has happened over the past 12 months that would lead to so many people leaving you with so many dogs, or so many dogs being dropped off at your door, that issues that weren't there in previous years or that have gotten worse? Or
yeah, well, there's a variety of reasons why dogs come to us. Sometimes it's just they're dogs that are found straying that we pick up, we can't find an owner for, they don't have a microchip, anything like that. But there's also the unfortunate case of just, as the cost of living crisis gets worse and people find themselves either losing accommodation or going into accommodation that doesn't welcome dogs, or losing their jobs, all sorts of other life issues that just mean that they are no longer in a position to care for a dog. And that seems to be the case of a lot of surrenders that we get. It's just people being made homeless. Again, they end up going into accommodation where they can no longer keep their dog. They're losing their job, and so they turn to us for help because they want to do best by their dog. And I think that's kind of the main thing, is why we're seeing a significant increase in dog surrenders. Is just kind of this unfortunate, with everything kind of being less good this year. And people in a position where they need help. I know during the lockdown, there was a significant number of dogs being adopted because suddenly everybody was home. And then a lot of them returned to the office. Returned to the office, yes. And so that's part of it as well, is people are continuing to be called back into the office, and suddenly they're like, well, now I have to be in the office for 8 hours a day. And they make the very difficult decision to surrender the dog to us because they understand, well, I can't get the dog the life that he deserves. And so they turn to us for help. Okay, and yeah, as you say, lockdown and the end of all of that is a big reason why demand has increased so much since 2019. The types of dogs that are coming to Clare Animal Welfare, Brigid, are they mostly adult dogs, puppies, a mixture? There's a good mixture. We tend to get more adult dogs that come into us. When we get puppies, it's usually because a dog has an unexpected litter, or we find a litter somewhere, and that's kind of usually how we get the puppies in. But for the most part, it seems to be adult dogs that come into us. Again, it's usually because someone got a dog when they were younger, things were great, but then unfortunately life changes and people get put into very difficult situations, and so even if they've had the dog for years and years and years, they end up having to get the dog to us. Okay, and I'm just wondering, are there particular times of year when there has been a spike in terms of getting these 275 dogs? Like, for example, did you receive more of them over the summer, or as people are going on summer holidays or whatever it might be, or even coming into this time of year, Christmas? Do you see more, or perhaps even less? Or coming into Christmas, did that help you in terms of rehoming dogs? Because as much as the message gets out there, a dog is for life, not just for Christmas, they're going to feature highly on people's wish lists. Yes, and Christmas is an interesting time of year for trying to home dogs, because you get, again, there's the case of people end up having to surrender a dog for one reason or another, kind of this time of year and after Christmas as well, because unfortunately sometimes people don't quite get the message that dog isn't just for Christmas, a puppy is for life. But we do also kind of run into the issue of people wanting to come to us to adopt a dog, wanting it to be a Christmas present, wanting to surprise their kids. And we always have to like very carefully talk them down from that to be like, no, it's not a good idea to do that. It'll end up not working out for everybody. It's better if everyone is involved and part of the process from start to finish, even if there might be a little bit of disappointment with the kids. So it's kind of up and down in terms of homing dogs and dogs being surrendered at this time of year.
So talk to us a bit about what is involved then, Brigid, in rehoming dogs, because it is really impressive that you have managed to rehome more dogs than ever before. But you kind of touched on it there. You know, that example, someone coming to you looking for a dog for Christmas, and you have to there's a bit of gentle letdown or forewarning, or whatever phrase you want to use, but if people are determined and they are going to be good dog owners, and this is something they've clearly put thought into, what is the process then of getting a dog, and what does it take for you to find a home for them?
Yeah, so I think, well, first of all, like a huge shout out to all of my fellow volunteers, because without them we wouldn't be able to home any dogs, because Clare Animal Welfare is run solely by volunteers. We don't have any paid employees. So it's all, we've managed to get together a good group of people this year, and I think that's part of why we've been able to help so many dogs, because we have so many people who are passionate about it. And part of the process that people have to go through, it's a very careful vetting process. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating for people because we have quite a few steps to go through. There's the initial application, and then we will request some videos of like your garden, maybe like the sitting area of the house, just to kind of get an idea of like what kind of living situation do you have? Is it suitable for a dog? And then
like if you got in your garden, is it all covered by fencing? Is there a gate and so on?
Yeah, and even if is it all paved over? Is there a little bit of grass? And it's not even if someone were to send in a video and they say, look, I don't have any fencing, that's not necessarily an immediate rejection at all. There's other factors that go into it, like, are you quite rural? Is there a risk of the dog running out onto a main road and getting knocked down? So we take those into account. But then if they, we like the videos, like the application, then we'll say, okay, let's set up a home check, which involves, I think pre-COVID times, this was done in person. And this was before I started volunteering, so I don't know how they managed to do that, driving all around the county, visiting people in person to like basically do an interview of what kind of dog owner are you going to be, what kind of life will a dog have with you. Nowadays we do it pretty much all virtually, so it's a WhatsApp video call is what we do, where we sit down with the whole family. We're very particular about requesting the whole family be present, because again, we don't want anyone to be surprised. We've had people come back to us to be like, oh, sorry, my partner, my child, my parents said no. We're like, no, we need to talk to everybody. And like I said, it's a bit of an interview where we ask a whole series of questions just to get an idea, because the goal is we want to match you with a dog that will suit your lifestyle, that will suit your personality, that will suit your family. We want the dog to become part of the family, and we do our best to try to figure out who you are as a person, who you are as a family, to find that match. And if the home check goes well and the home check team reviews it and approves it, then we can invite you to come out to meet the dog, that either one that you've applied for, or if we say, hey, we think you might suit this dog, come out and meet him. You come to meet the dog in person. If you have any other dogs, we'd recommend you bring them with them so that they can meet the dog as well, because we want to make sure everyone's going to get on. If that goes well, then you could take the dog home the same day.
Okay. And is that for, like a 2-week trial period just to make sure things do work out, or is it you can take them and that's deal done?
We don't usually do trial periods. It's only in particular cases.
Okay.
We did have one dog recently who did get sent on a trial adoption. That's because she had some very particular needs, had a bit of a rough start, and so we wanted to make sure that everything was going to go well in it. For the most part, we find that it's better if people commit to it from the beginning. We find sometimes if people are doing like a trial adoption, they're not wholly into it because they feel like, oh, well, if it doesn't go well, I can just return the dog. Which, again, because we're volunteers and because we don't have a central facility, we only use fosters. It can put us in a difficult position if the adopter then comes back and goes, no, I need you to take the dog immediately. And we're like, we don't have a place.
Yeah. That foster may have taken in another dog, or
Exactly.
they may not be available anymore. Or
Yeah, because the unfortunate thing is that we always have far too many dogs in need of homes and not enough fosters to accommodate them.
Okay, maybe we'll talk then on that about support. So what kind of support do you need at Clare Animal Welfare, be it foster homes, donations, new volunteers? What is most urgently needed right now, Brigid?
Fosters is kind of the number one thing that we're looking out for, because again, we don't have nearly enough fosters, and fosters who don't have any other dogs already is always a good thing, because sometimes we get dogs in who can't be with other dogs because either they've had bad experiences in the past, they're quite reactive, and they need something a little bit quieter without any other dogs fighting for attention. But unfortunately, for the most part, a lot of people who apply to foster are dog lovers, already have dogs, already have cats. But really, anyone I would recommend, if anyone's looking to foster a dog, send in an application, because we always need more fosters. We never have enough, and we don't want to overload the fosters we do have by continuously sending them dog after dog after dog, because it can be a little difficult.
Well, you have someone here who wants to help out potentially and get on board. Annie has texted us on 086 1800 964 saying, how can one volunteer with Clare Animal Welfare?
Yeah, so you submit an application. We have all of our forms on our website. If you go to clareanimalwelfare.ie, I think it is, there's an application form to become a volunteer. And it's basically just kind of get an idea of what are your skills, what kind of ways are you looking to volunteer in. Clare Animal Welfare is a little different than some of the other organizations because, again, like I said, we don't have a central facility. We work solely with fosters to keep dogs. So a lot of our volunteer work is actually online. There's not like a central facility that you would go to put in time at. And so it can be a little difficult to kind of find a space for volunteers to go in. But the main thing that volunteers can do is be adoption coordinators, where they review applications coming in, interview people, and like help facilitate the actual adoptions. We also need people helping with like social media, helping with driving dogs places, dogs and cats actually, because we do take care of cats. And sometimes like a dog or cat might need to be taken out to a vet, and the foster might not be able to drive or might not have a car or anything like that. And so another way volunteers can help is by basically going out, picking up the dog, driving them out to the vet. But definitely submit, if you're interested in volunteering, submit the application, and one of our current volunteers will be in touch to talk to you a little bit and see how you can help.
Okay, well, it's good to hear that people do want to get involved like Annie. That's your question answered, Annie. And all I can say, Brigid, is well done to you and everyone else involved with Clare Animal Welfare, because there's clearly very much a need for your service, and well done on rehoming a record number of dogs, although, as we say, that points to another issue that hopefully people out there, and particularly 9 days away from Christmas, let's reinforce that message. A dog is for life, not just for Christmas. It will be there in January, February, March and going forward. And doing due diligence and doing all your research as a family or a group beforehand.
I think definitely it's also important to, if you're thinking about getting a dog, research the breed as well, because one thing that we find is kind of a major issue with people, and why people end up surrendering a dog on top of whatever life issues are happening, is people get a breed that they don't quite understand, or that they're unable to fulfill the breed's needs. Like we get a lot of collies in. Granted, collies are very, very common in Ireland, but they are quite frequently surrendered because they're very active and they're very intelligent dogs. And if you're not able to get them enough exercise and you're not able to meet their mental needs as well, that's a very, very important part for all intelligent breeds like shepherds, collies, anything along those lines. It's not just about getting out and running for 3 hours a day. You also have to teach them tricks.
Stimulate them.
Yeah, stimulate them. Try some dog sports. There's plenty of things out there, because otherwise else that's where a lot of problems will start. is because they're bored and they don't know what to do with themselves, and they're going to try to find a job because you haven't given them a job. And so that's where a lot of issues come in.
Okay. Do your homework, folks. That's the overriding message here. Brigid Molloy, volunteer with Clare Animal Welfare, thank you very much, and happy Christmas and New Year to you.